After achieving independence from Britain in the late 18th century, the United States began to expand westward across North America on the belief that it represented a superior race chosen by God to settle the continent.
As the United States was expanding westward across North America, many white English-speaking Americans believed that it was their manifest destiny to conquer North America, that they were culturally and religiously and politically superior to other peoples, and that God had chosen them, that it was their manifest destiny to conquer North America, regardless of all the other peoples who inhabited the continent.
What followed was a century of wars and massacres on the western frontier, as native nations and tribes resisted invasion and confinement to reservations. In the 1830s, the forced removal of Indians from the southwest wiped out half the Cherokee Nation. Known to history as the Trail of Tears, then President Andrew Jackson described Indians as savage dogs and discouraged the military from sparing their women and children. The enduring face of the $20 bill, the liberal icon, was a personal inspiration to Adolf Hitler.
Yes, they fought savagely, for they were a primitive people, and self-preservation is a primitive instinct.
Early American cinema played a large role in shaping popular memory of the western frontier. The recurring theme was one of innocent settlers besieged by Indians, whose land they had taken. This absurd inversion of the truth depicted Indians as primitive, bloodthirsty savages.
Injun, run their dot-gum, dot-blasted sheep over our land just like they owned it.
In 1973, actor Marlon Brando refused his Oscar for The Godfather to protest Hollywood's misrepresentation of Indians.
These people are injured by seeing themselves represented as savage, as ugly, as nasty, vicious, treacherous, drunken. They grow up only with a negative image of themselves, and it lasts a lifetime.
California, here in undreamed of Technicolor beauty is adventure, the hysteria of the gold rush.
During the gold rush in California, thousands of native men, women and children were slaughtered by troops and settlers. A war of extermination, said Governor Peter Burnett in 1851, will continue to be waged until the Indian race becomes extinct. At the height of the genocide, the federal government reimbursed the state of California over $1 million for its murderous campaign. By 1873, the nightmare of disease, slavery and massacre had reduced the native population by 80%.
One particular unprovoked late 19th century raid by U.S. soldiers on an Indian community in Colorado. A raid planned specifically for a time when all the young Indian men would be away hunting, so there would only be unarmed women, children, and old men in the village. The men used their knives, he said, ripped open women, clubbed little children, beat their brains out. In numerous instances, men cut out the private parts of females and stretched them over their saddle bows and wore them over their hats while riding in the ranks. One man cut a squaw's heart out and stuck it up on a stick. When asked about this ghastly event, President Theodore Roosevelt, a Nobel Peace Prize winner, said it was as righteous and beneficial a deed as ever took place on the frontier. Later, referring to the overall long history of the destruction of the American Indians, Roosevelt dismissed any possible concerns by saying that the Indians were, quote, an alien race that held a coveted prize in its feeble grasp.